SQL. So let's start by even understanding what SQL is. Yeah. So looking at the screen, it says SQL is a standard language for accessing and manipulating database. So let's pause there. Okay, and ask the question that is important. If SQL is the language for manipulating and accessing database, what is database? Okay, so what is database? Think of it. If you hear database, what comes to your mind? Okay, so I'll say that the database is basically a place where we store and organize our data. Okay, so for easy accessibility, yeah. So for easy accessibility, just like the last time I sent to you now. Calm down. Okay, so it's basically a place where you can put your data and store it, access it whenever you want. Databases are managed using what? Database management systems. Okay, like what we saw here. Database.
What did you mean by manipulating database?
Well, manipulating simply means you can remove, create, insert, update, delete, change what is there. That is the meaning of manipulating. Okay, so this is basically a management system or management studio, database management studio. So databases are majorly managed using what? A database management studio, and okay, that is that. Now the question is, if database stores data, okay, now what is data? That is the next thing we should look at. Okay, so data are basically every form of, or every piece of, I don't want you to use the word information. Every raw fact. Okay? Every raw fact you can think of. Everything. Data is everything. Okay? Basically, someone coming into this class is data. Okay? Scrolling through your phone, clicking the like button, data. So that's basically everything that we do. Okay? Consciously or unconsciously. But if I'm to get a cleaner definition, okay, of what data is, let me quickly see if I can get that. Okay, so a collection of facts, figures, or other information that can be used for what? Analysis and processing. Okay, so that is what data is. Okay, so a collection of what? Facts, figures, or other what? Information that can be used for what? Analysis and processing. Okay, so raw facts, raw figures, raw information, or raw data, precisely. Now that we've understood what data is and what a database is, so database, we keep those raw facts in database, and SQL is what we use to access and manipulate those. Exactly. So now, what is SQL? Okay, SQL stands for what? Structured Query Language. That is the meaning. Structured Query Language. So it's basically a language that is structured, okay, and allows us to do what? Manipulate, access database. All right. So then I would skip this history part, right, and jump over to what can SQL do. Okay, so SQL can allow us to execute queries against a database. So queries are like, what is it, like questions or commands? Okay, so think of them as commands. Okay, so it allows us to execute commands against what? A database. Then you can retrieve, they start giving examples of these queries. One can be what? To retrieve data from the database. For instance, each time you go to Facebook and you go to your profile, you see your profile. Each time you open your Gmail, you see your mail. Okay, so that is retrieving data basically. All right. So SQL also allows us to insert records into a database. Each time you drop a Facebook post or an Instagram post or a message or send a mail, you're basically inserting data. All right. So that is what database or SQL allows us to do in a database. Now, for instance, you made a mistake in your post, you can go and edit it, right? So you can update the record in the database. Then you don't feel like posting this any longer, you can delete it. So it allows us to drop or delete data in the database. Then SQL can also allow us to create a database. Okay, not just manipulate it, you can create one. Okay, then inside of a database, you can create tables. All right, then you can also create stored procedure. Okay, inside the database. Then you can also create views, set permissions on tables, procedures, and what views. So basically, everything that has to do with database is run off or runs off SQL. The creating of databases, the updating of records in database,
the
deleting of records, the adding of records, okay, the finding of records, creating tables, okay. All those things are what we can do inside.
What's the permissions and tables procedures and views?
Okay, so basically we start with permissions. Permission simply means who can do what or what can be done. Okay, so when you try to say this should be able to happen, for instance, who can add data to this table, who can update the table, who should delete data. Okay, okay, that is permissions. Now, so other permissions can also be like constraints, which like types of data you can add to the table. Okay, all this kind of stuff. Then procedure is basically when you have some particular queries or commands that you run constantly, so you kind of store them as a procedure, so you can always rerun them whenever you need, without having to write them afresh. Okay, because queries most times you have to write them afresh, but procedures, I always call them, they're like functions. Yeah, you can call them whenever you want them, write them once and always call them around. Then views are like, they're like the normal table, but they don't have memory. They're not stored in the system. They are basically floating. So think of them as floating tables. So if there are particular components of the table that you want to put in a particular view, you can create that view. Okay. So beyond this, we have index, okay, which is like a way of it's just like in a book. You have every book has like an index page where you can always look up to see which page has which number. So the index in databases allow us to look up things very, very fast, basically. So it saves time when returning or querying for values. All right, so that is much as it is for SQL. Then the next thing we can look at, beyond this, okay, beyond those of select, update, delete, insert, where, okay,
And those are the formulas mostly used.
these are the most used ones. Okay, they're mainly used for working with the data itself.
Okay.
They're mainly used with working with the data itself. They have other ones like create, alter, drop, okay, that are also used to manipulate the database, the tables, the structures itself. Okay, now that we've understood that, then we would move over to understand what. Okay, these are the examples of other database. MySQL, Microsoft Access, SQL Server, MySQL. Okay, then PHP languages like this. Okay, so you can actually connect to this using Python.
Language mostly is PHP and
No. These are like languages to use to connect to them. Okay, it's like building applications. So Python, PHP, ASPS, or rather ASP, which is like .NET. Okay, that's C sharp. Okay, so these are like programming languages. But the point is, database stores information, and you can also connect to them using scripting languages, which are server-side language. So when you're trying to store information in the web, okay, don't just write just SQL. Okay, you also write SQL that connects to that language, so you can now share information between the two languages. Okay, so but again, that's not what we're going to look at. Our focus is on SQL alone and how to use it in the world of data. Okay, so um, now we have seen database management system, which is the software used to manage database, right? Then we have RDBMS, right? I'm missing the DB, okay? Which is database management, relational database management what? System, okay? Over here. So that is the basis of what? SQL. And from all modern database systems such as MySQL, Server, IBM, DB.
These are some of the databases this thing again we use.
Like that we use, yes. Okay, all of them. The relational database is stored in database objects called table. Basically, it's just telling us that everything we are doing henceforth with SQL is based on the fact that we have what? A relational database. So the question is the difference between a relational database and a non-relational database. For instance, database management system on its own can be files stored in the computer, okay? Microsoft Word for recording information. But the point is, these systems are not like efficient. If you want to find information in them, they are scattered. You can't actually keep tabs on what is what or how they relate to each other. Okay, so they just basically store information. Okay, so I'm just giving like an abstract example. Okay, so but when it comes to relational database, something like Excel, okay, can seem to fall into that category because when you are working with Excel tables, you are basically working with rows.
Yes.
So each data, each record, all of the information are basically in one row. Okay, so everything you want to find out, you can find it out there. Then the columns determine what kind of data should be stored. That same approach applies here. Okay, so over here we would think that is much as that, right? So this is what a basic syntax looks like, right? So entities are basically words.
Sorry, the example, that's from the example there. That's one of the
Syntax of SQL.
Okay.
You're going to see them down shortly, right? So I'm also supposed to send you some files across to you, so you see some files as well. Anyways, we start. Okay, so basically, every table is broken down into smaller entities. Entities are the words we use for referring to structures in SQL. Okay, so entities. So a table is a collection of what? Related data entities. Okay, it consists of rows and columns, or columns and rows. Okay, so now tables is broken down into smaller entities called field. So the field is basically the column. Okay, so now we are assuming that we have a customer table that consists of customer ID, customer name, contact name, address, city, postal code, and country. Okay, so we are just assuming this. So a field is a column in a table and is designed to maintain specific information, okay, about every record in the table. So records are also called what? Rows. So that's why most times, even when I was talking about Excel, I can interchange them when I say rows, records. I'm basically referring to the same thing. Okay, so the data itself that you're storing is the record, and that is the rows. Okay? While the column is basically the field that you're using to keep each information about that record or store each part of the record. Okay? So that is that about the basic explanation. So we'll start by moving over to an SQL statement. Okay? So the syntaxes and the SQL statement. But you will need to install these things to use it. Okay, so a lot of things, starting with this one. Okay, so you go to my SQL server download.
Let me go to Google.
Yeah, go to Google. Type my SQL server download and leave the AI part. The first line, first Microsoft.
Let me Google.
Yeah.
Okay, they have the first one, second one, okay.
The first one.
First one, server download.
It opens up somewhere like this. So we
Yeah.
scroll down gently till we find where we need to go. So we need to download the Express. So click on download now.
Come is trying to SQL Server 2022 Express, right?
Yes.
Download now.
So once that one is done, we go over to.
I don't know if it's downloaded or.
Yeah, it should jump up and show you
Yes,
something like
yes,
that.
sure.
So it's downloading. I think it's about some 4 MB or
Yes,
5
it's
MB.
downloaded.
Okay, so then the next thing is SSMS, suppose. Okay?
Pardon?
SSMS.
I should check another one.
Yes, type another one. SSMS 20 download. Okay, so I think it's 21 at this time.
SS, right?
SSMS
MS.
download.
Okay, that's for SS download, yes.
SMS.
SMS download, yeah. So
We're going to give you 21. Click on download and bring it to somewhere like this.
yeah, look at where it brought me.
Yeah, so then we scroll down to where we download this. Scroll down to here to see download. How to install this first, download this to run it. So you click on the download,
How to install SS, okay.
CD download SS21. So you click on it and download it. So once it's done, we now install it.
Computer sold.
Let's wait. Once it comes to me, let me know. So let's continue over here.
Come, it has come up. Getting things ready, that's it.
So over here, we are going to create a new query sheet. So what you're looking at is basically the studio management. We have just like on our what's it called, Excel. We have file, edit, all those kind of stuff. But my interest is on these other commands that are here. Usually, new query, open, and save. Okay. So when I click on new query, it's going to create a new file that will allow me start writing my code. Okay, start writing my query language basically. Get back. Now this is practically where we'll be writing our queries. Okay, so I'm going to send something across to you. We'll start by basically creating a simple create statement. Then we'll move over to select statements. Okay. Now there is something known as DDL, DML, DCL, TCL.
Why are they plenty like this? What is the meaning of all of them?
Now, if I try to start explaining all these meanings, okay, it starts getting cumbersome. But I'm just going to tell you what they are all in charge of.
Okay? Download successful.
Okay, so the DDL is known as data definition language. It's basically dealing with the structure. There you go. Okay. It's basically dealing with the structure of the database itself. Okay. The DML is data manipulation language. That one deals with the data itself, the records. Okay. And the DCL is data control language, deals with the structure itself. Okay, and then TCL is transaction control language, deals with data structure as well. Okay? Transaction simply means whatever that happens in the database is basically a transaction. That's the way to see it. Okay? That's the easiest way of putting it. So Just know that we have all this, and we have commands that are under them. Okay, so we start, like I said, we're going to start with some basic create statements, which is under
Still studying, okay.
DL.
So we start with the DDL.
Yeah, table or
You
database.
have to give that column on the in front before putting the DDL.
No, that's the column. The dashes in front is a way of writing a comment. This part will not execute. This part will not run. That's
So
when you
usually
want
like that.
when you want to write things that shouldn't be executed by SQL.
Okay.
You write those stuffs. That's one way of doing it. There's another way of doing it actually. Sure. Okay, so create database, tables, and the rest of them. Then alter, okay, alter, drop. So these are the major commands that are under this particular one. Then so we start with create. Now it can be small letters all through basically, but it's best practice to always keep them capital all through. Okay, it's best practice to always keep them in capital form all through. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. Create, then followed by database, which is the structure I'm trying to create.
What of the number two? Why is number two not having the
Because I don't want it not to run. I want this one to run. This is what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
This part. This is the part. I want this part to run. Now I'm going to put the name of the database. So I'm going to call this my new. Let's add underscores.
So this
Data.
database now, the one you're creating now, we can put any name depending on what we're working with.
Yes,
Okay.
my new database. Okay, so you can add this or leave it depending on your choice.
Okay.
Now, and this basically creates a new database. Mind you, I should be in master for it to work. Okay, for this to work, I should be in master. If I am somewhere else, it might not work. Okay, if I'm here,
So we'll come and click master.
so let's ensure that this place is where we have available databases.
Okay.
Okay, if I'm somewhere else, it might not work.
Okay.
So always try to leave the master. Even though I'm thinking it can
So
work
where's
from
the
anywhere.
master code now?
Just the master
Okay, just
database.
master.
Master. So even though I'm thinking like it should work from any place here, it's basically the same thing. But each time that I change this thing, the query tries to execute against the database here. So, but since this is a create command and I'm creating a database, I'm believing it shouldn't matter. Okay, but I haven't tried it before, so but I'm thinking it shouldn't matter. Okay, so execute is where I click when I want it to run. So, and it says successfully completed the command. Okay.
I'm still confused.
Again, this part, this white part is where we write the queries we want to execute. Now, this place that has master is where we have available database. These are database you can work with in your system. Okay, so when you connect to the database in the company, the ones you can work with will show up here. Then inside of this object explorer is where we have the server. That is the computer that houses the database. Okay, now in a server we can have multiple databases. Now the database you have access to is the one you're going to be able to see. But for this case, you have access to everything. So now that I have a server, right, and I have my databases that is here, which is what will also appear here. Okay, so what is here is for me to see it. Over here is for me to choose the one I want to work with. Okay. So now, whatever one I choose over here is what this white part, is what this query part will refer to each time it tries to run. Okay.
What
so
about does that include the DDL?
This part here that is here, you see the color is different.
Yes.
It's green. What simply it means is that this part will not run. This part is for human being only.
Okay.
Why this part that is not green, the code will read it. Human being can read it. It will run it. It will execute it. Okay. So this is basically known as comments in programming. This is basically a comment in programming.
Comment program.
This, yeah. I'll also put it in brackets in short so that
Okay.
comment in programming.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it's clear. All right. Then now that I'm done, I'm seeing successful, which means it's created it. If
So
I
as long
look,
as we click, we get that create database, we put the name that we want to use on the database.
yes,
We now go to master.
it should be master or any place at the first. Okay.
Master or any place that we decide to work with.
Yes.
Then it will
If
now.
we now click execute,
I'll click. Okay, we'll now go back to execute and click
yes, for it to now run.
run.
Okay. Once it's done running, it will give you the message
Okay.
successful or not successful, depending on what.
And if you show not successful, what now happen? That means you're not doing it.
Yes, you then have to go and fix one or two things. Okay. So that is that. Then the next thing is we are going to move over to creating a table. Now you are seeing all these databases that is here. Okay. I want to.
You click on that to get all this.
There is a plus sign beside the database. This thing. Where are we in there? So I want to see. I want to use that.
Installing.
Like it's still going installing.
Yes.
It's not done with it.
It's going something like this.
Wow. Okay, so we have this plus icon that is around. If I click on it, it collapses. If I click on it, it expands. Basically, just like we had in Excel, we had tiny pluses to click on. Okay. Now all these things that are here are all databases I can use. Most of them are created like this. The way I was explaining to you now, I'll create another one for the whole classes. Some of them are installed for the sake of teaching. Okay. So for here, I have created my new database. And if you go over here, you can see my new database. Okay. Now, if I want to start working with this database to start creating tables, I can come over here and say, okay, I want to start working with my new database. I will now choose my new database.
Wait, since you have done that, now I'm getting something. Since you have created your database, that's your new database, and you click master and execute, it automatically now save there.
Yes. It's not basic. Just think of it, database is like a space electronically partitioned in your system where you can store things permanently. Okay. So now you use command create that space, that environment for you to store things. Inside that environment, now you can now start creating tables, procedures, views, indexes, and the rest of that. So that is that. Then the next command I'm going to use is create table. Now the create table is a bit different in that it's done. In that no problem. I don't have to just put a name. I need to put a name and a field. Remember, tables come with fields. So I'll start by saying create table user. Okay, or let me use another thing that is not user. Let me use staff. Okay, so it doesn't have the same color with this. And this black one is the one you're choosing yourself. Okay, so inside of it, I'm going to put this to tell it what staff should have. Staff should have staff ID. Okay, I'm going to use underscores. Now, staff ID, I need to tell it the data type it should be. Data types are like building blocks. They are like in life in our world now. We have water, we have sand, soil, we have other mineral resources, right? So think of them as mineral resources that help us build things. Metal. Okay. So when you want to build something that should be only numbers, whole numbers, you go with integer. When you want to use something that should contain decimal values, you can use decimal double. When you want something that has the capacity of containing big positive numbers, you can use big integer. Okay. So in our case, I'm using what? Integer. Okay. I'm putting a comma. Then this should have staff name.
So now this create table that you're creating now is to add what?
Is to add a table to the database. Now the structure is we have a server, a computer, a physical computer. Then we now have an electronic space inside of it called database. Inside of that database, you can now have other things like table. So the table is actually where the record, where the data is being stored. Okay, so database holds table and table holds data. That's the structure. So what we just did now is to create table. Okay. Then after which you can now start adding data to it. So we started by creating the database, which is already now server. Okay. Then we now created the table. Sorry. Yes, I'm correct. Okay. So after creating the table, the next thing to do is now to add data to it before we can now get data from it. Okay. That's because we are doing it for the first time. If you walk into a company, you just start getting data from it because you won't be the one to create it. Okay. So that is the idea. So now let's go ahead to execute this. Now, if I should click execute, it's going to give me an error because it's saying database by new deep database already exists. Okay. So what I can do is to execute these things one at a time. Now, whenever I highlight something, SQL will run that only that part. If I click execute, okay. So if I want,
as long as you click execute, it will run it.
Yeah, if I highlight that part.
Was that how we did in that create data?
No, we didn't do that because it was only one command.
Okay.
So now I have multiple commands. I have two.
Okay, it was only one command there.
Yes, when I did that.
When you did that, but this one, there's one command there. So where's the other command?
I have one command. I have another command. So when I did this one, it was only this.
One command.
So when I executed, it was able to create this.
Okay.
I didn't have to highlight because I only wrote one command. Then I have another command under it.
So the command I'm saying, the command is these things we're creating now.
The command is this thing I'm creating.
So now with this create table stuff plus the create database, that's making two commands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So now I can select only this part. I want to execute only this part.
Okay.
So I can now click execute. Then it should give me successful. You notice under here saying running executing query.
Yes.
Okay. So
what's the same?
Name already exists. I think it's running it the first time. Alright. So let's check if you have that table existing. So I clicked on the plus icon.
Okay. Once you now have an existing table, it will indicate.
Yes, it indicates. If you have something that is already existing, you can create it again.
Okay, so you need to change the table.
Either I change the name to staffs or anything, okay? So, but let me check if the table is existing. I click over here. I'm clicking on my new database.
Okay.
And then I'm clicking on inside of it, I have tables. So when the table is done expanding, I will know if it exists or not. Okay. So while I'm waiting for it, now we have dbo.staff. So meaning that time it ran the first time, this one gave error, it progressed to the second one. And ran the second one. That one didn't give any error. So it proceeded to create my what? Table. Okay. So now we move over to the second part. Now I'm done with part of the create. Okay. So I might want to work with author. But if I get author, I want to start looking at. Okay, I'm going DML. Okay. So I want to start looking at the DML commands, which has to do with insert.
The create table stuff now we don't have, because it's not, when you check the table, does it have the same listing?
Yeah. See now you have the staff. If I open the table, I can see the columns. And the columns will have staff ID, staff name,
Okay, okay.
which is what I just added.
So even if we have now, we don't care about it. We just work with it.
Yeah, if you have it, you can work with it. You don't need to create another one.
Okay, so now we go to this one, insert select.
Yes. Delete. I think that is also.
I thought you said if we have another one, we need to change the subject.
Like I'm saying, what I said is if I'm creating,
Mm.
okay, you are working in a company, you are tasked to create a new database. This is how they create it.
Okay.
If you are not tasked to create a new table, the table name should be there. But if you are trying to create a new table and that table is in existence, it will not allow you to create it with the same name.
Okay.
So what you might do is to alter it. Okay, alter the already existing table or drop it. But if you're working in a production database, you won't try to drop any table because you're not. You don't. That means you're deleting everybody's data. Just imagine you wake up one morning and you try to log into Facebook and you can't log in again. It's not even saying that Facebook. It's saying your account does not exist. It's not saying wrong password. It's telling you that this account you don't have an account with Facebook. That means everybody's things wiped.
So you just left it like this.
I left it like this because the command is already correct. So I'm moving to the next thing for now. Okay. So the idea is for us to learn how to create table, create database.
I said this thing is.
Okay. So that is that. So the next thing we're going to look at is basically select, insert. So I am done with this. So I can connect now. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I think I'm going to start with insert. So now we've created our table. The next we're going to do is to add data into it.
So if we're now doing this table like this, well, when I say table, it's not good to do one like the way you're numbering them, right? And you're jumping some numbers.
No, jumping some numbers for readability. That number there is majorly just for readability. 1, 2, 3, 4, just to know the line you're in.
Oh, okay.
I'm not making it.
The line you are in the column.
That's the line you are in your code.
Okay.
So I'm working in line 9 now. If an error occurs, okay, see here, it's saying message 2714, right? 2714, level 16, state 6, line 5. So I'll go to line 5 to know what happened.
Okay.
That's what it's saying. Okay. So that's the essence of those numbers. It tells you where the error is or where some challenge is.
So it's from that line that you know, because all these are level 16.
Yeah, I don't know those ones. That line part that you know. Okay. Then if you're like understanding the level stuff, okay, then you can actually tell, okay, the level, this simply means so thing has occurred. Okay. But I can't come and kind of level thing in your head unless you have like a manual where you can go through the whole level stuff. Okay. So for now I'm doing an insert into the table staff. Okay. So actually I'm
insert into staff.
Yeah, staff is the table. Okay. Then I want to talk about what to insert. I'm going to insert. So I want to insert staff ID.
So this one you're just generally bringing your own ID.
I'm basically writing what should be there. Okay. Now from here, the whole black stuff is me. Okay. The whole blue stuff must be there. Okay. So now.
Sorry. The blue stuffs now, the blue stuffs, is it?
They are the SQL commands.
Yeah,
that the statements or clauses in SQL that must be there.
Yeah. Are we the one to put it or it's
auto-generated? No, they don't want to type it.
And you now insert the blue color there.
No, the blue color is generated by default.
It's generated automatically.
Yes, once you type the syntax that is recognized by SQL. If I type something like user now, okay, it changes to blue.
Because it's something that
it's something that you don't understand.
Okay, so the black is now blue.
Even though user here can stand as for me, but the point is the fact that the color change means SQL is using it for something.
So the green now.
The green is the one that it doesn't execute.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't execute. It doesn't read it. Yes, for human beings.
The SQL doesn't read it.
Yes, it's for human beings. So So I can now say staff name. Okay. Now I have selected the columns I want to work with. The columns I want to work with. Okay. The next thing I'm going to now do is talk about the values. Okay, the values I want to now insert. So over here, I said staff ID. I'll start with 1, and the next one is what? Staff name. Okay, so I'm going to put the name of the staff. Okay, so let's assume that this is the name. Okay, so now this is somebody's name. Okay, so anything, but the point is, it can be anything basically. I'm just assuming a name. Oh no, don't put my name.
Go ahead.
So then it can be anything basically. All right. Now this syntax is complete. All right. So also notice all these red lines. They are telling us that something is wrong.
Yes, I know.
So
it's just for us to change, right?
Yeah. But I can't execute the whole. Remember, if I click on this and I have 3 commands here,
Exactly.
so I can't just click on this. I want to click on the one that I want, unless I'm writing this for the first time and I'm executing it for the first time. But even at that, it's good practice to always execute in hierarchy. This one, that one, that one, that one. Even though it can all run at the same time, but it's always good practice to always execute in hierarchy. Okay, so that is that.
So now that there's a mistake, how will you change it on that?
This is not a mistake. It's telling that this table exists. So I can't actually run this command is going to give me an error, which is this error it gave me here. So what I'm doing now is just for practice. I'm just going to ignore it. Okay, if I remove it, what you want it to is for me to comment it out or delete it. I don't want that. Okay, I'll just ignore it and proceed to this part. Okay, and then execute. Okay, now it's saying 1 row affected. So it just executed my code. So now I have a value in my database.
So they say 1 row affected, meaning now what?
How many values do I have? 1.
On this insert into staff.
Yes. Insert into staff. For these columns, which are here, this part is columns. Okay, this part is columns. Now, after the columns, I'm specifying the values. So the value is just basically one value.
That's one person's name.
One person's name and one person's ID. Okay? So if I do another one and then say okay, now I can go ahead to do this and execute. Now it will say 2 rows affected, meaning I just added 2 persons' name. Okay. Now, what I'm doing, should record it, yes. What I'm doing is basically adding these things, records into my database, into my table to be more precise. Okay, so for me now to see what I just wrote, I can then do select. Okay, select star from staff. Okay, this will now allow me, okay, to do what? To view my table. Okay, so
sorry, sir. So when we're done with this insert now, which is understandable,
okay,
we now do select.
I'm not writing this in any particular order. I'm just doing this to show you. So that I'm just creating a database from scratch, table from scratch.
So it's me now asking to me. So you now click on select. I know you're not doing it accordingly, right? So the select now is from staff now.
Then I want to select everything in staff.
Everything in staff.
Yes. Okay. So I have the data returned back. So inside of my table staff, these are the values that I have. These are the records that I have. Okay, which is what we just inserted now, basically. So that is that. Now the select allows us to get things from there, the insert to add things, create things.
So with this select, are we not going to execute?
Select I executed already, now that's why I'm seeing it. I executed. All of them you must execute. That is why I'm seeing something.
Okay, and what is it now bringing? Grade 1, grade wise.
One, staff, one.
Staff 1.
Staff,
yes.
staff ID, staff name, one, grade wise,
Yes.
one, grade wise, two, Rose Joy.
Why is it giving grade wise 2?
We ran the command first time only grade wise. It said one row affected, right?
Yes.
We then
So
added
Joy.
Rose Joy. Okay? We then ran it again. It now said 2 rows affected. So meaning each time we run it, number of insert that was done was given to us. So when we added it,
like this? Okay, now
no problem, go ahead.
Now you see we put grade wise first, right? Before now adding joy, then we execute again, right?
Yes.
And say 2 row affected. If now we decide to put grade wise, then we now open and put to Rose Joy and close it. Will it still and execute everything the same time? Will it still give us this?
The point is how many times did I execute this? Now I have this, right? Just for explanation.
You have not answered my question.
What's the question?
My question is, I understood the part you did the insert, right? You did grade wise first, you inserted, you execute, then it brought out 1 row affected. Then we now go back and did Rose Joy. And it pointed out to
2 rows
affected. So if in the situation where you will just put grade wise comma and Rose Joy,
if you just do 2 rows affected, it will only appear 1.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So it will only appear 1. But since you did before with
if I do this thing again now, if I execute this again, okay, and I do another select,
yes,
okay, it's added there.
That's what I was asking. Okay? Yes.
That's the point.
Yes. So it's just what I wanted to get. So since you execute it like that one grade wise 3 times and join I rules now 2, so it will bring out. But if only you put the whole names, it will bring 1. That's just what I want.
So that is that. So that is select, insert. They are all in a nutshell. Okay. So the main thing is I have a particular database I normally work with to teach, and it's this one. Okay, so I'm going to send those files across to you. You are going to execute them. So I just really wish that your system is like
execute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
with what? Okay, no problem. My video is still recording now.
Yeah, it's still recording. I'm even thinking of stopping it here.
Don't please agree. So that you come and be teaching me something later again that I won't be understanding. Please.
All right. I can see if you can find that particular file or those files. So there are 2 of them. Okay.
See, come and see my system. I don't understand. You just hang there, stop there.
I'm coming. Yes. It should be done by now. Let me start installing the other one.
It's not showing me anything. It's blank here.
I'm going to come and let me fix that one first. So that I need you to have all these things in your system. Then I'll practice that too. So let's go back to W3 schools. Let's go back.
So you delete and update?
Yeah, but if you haven't done that, then that is not the problem. Okay, but if you want, I can do all of them now.
No, you said it's one step at a time now. So
yeah.
Let's go and see.
So let's.
Now it's just to get this thing and know what.
Okay, so we need to have something to work with. Okay, so now some of the most important SQL commands. Okay, and you see some of these. Yeah. So we are supposed to know all these commands. These are the most some of the most important ones.
Okay.
Okay. So
They select extract data from a database.
exactly.
Like just what we did.
Mhm. So update is to make changes to it. If I want to update, then I'll probably make changes to the ID names or the staff name, whichever one. Then delete to delete the data. Then sorry, insert is to add new record or new data into the database. Okay. Then we have create. We saw create database. We saw alter database to modify the database. We have create table. We have alter table. We have drop table. We have create index. We have drop index.
It's done.
Okay. So majority of them are basically all the same. Create, alter, delete, the same. So, so this is management to do itself. We're installing now. So we start. Okay, let me just complete this one so that we move to update, delete, then alter and drop. Okay?
All at once.
Yeah,
It's still recording now.
still recording. So update. To update, I simply need to update, then I specify the table that I want to update, in our case staff, right? Then
So now, sorry, with this click thing or what color is it coming at? What does it signify to?
well, it's still the command that belongs to SQL. Okay. Then the next thing is set, update, set, right? Then I'm going to set values. Okay. Then I'm going to talk about the column I want to make changes to. Update the table, then set value. Okay. Update, you refer to a table, then set, you refer to the value. Basically a column in the table. Okay. So now I'm going to set staff ID, okay, equal to what? Let's come up with it's integer, so let's come up with number.
Must we put the equals to?
Yeah. Now we introduce something where if I don't put this where, right, my update will affect everything in my system. So let me execute without the where. Okay, so let me run this without the where. 5 rows affected. Let me run this select again.
Wait, hold on. 5 rows accepted from.
Affected from running update
Why is it 5 rows?
because I'm setting ID equals 25 for all my records.
I don't understand.
You will see it now. No, understand. Now I'm running this. Staff ID is now what? 25 for everybody. And the reason for that is because I didn't use where.
Okay, so for them to say 5 rows, that means for grade is 3
The
and
result
for rows
is
is
2.
2. So that making it 5 rows affected.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Now let's say I want to set it to instead of
So why are
25.
you using 25? Okay, it's just a number you want.
Yes, so it's 25. I can use 63.
Okay.
Now I'm going to now say where, okay, staff name is equals to rows.
So you need to put the present. Okay, start with
Rose joy.
head is bounding.
Okay, don't worry, it's small. Okay, now I execute. It's saying 2 rows affected. Now I do this. Okay, all the whole rose joy is now what? 60.
63.
Exactly. So that is what the where clause is doing for us.
Okay.
Okay,
These
so
things are
Yes, they're all there. So we're going to do more of this and all of this gradually, probably in our next class. We're going to dive, at least by then your system should be ready, and
Yes, sir.
we can do more.
Just
Then,
throughout today, I'll study this and this today and tomorrow
no problem.
from the green period, sir.
Then we do delete.
Then you see after the we're doing alter.
Yes, alt and drop. Then delete, basically, I want to delete some things. Okay, so let's say delete from table. Okay, so staff, then where staff ID is equals to 25. Okay, so now
Delete from staff where
delete from staff.
mhm,
Okay, where
staff
ID is
25.
5.
That's from the grade wise.
I was going to delete the whole grade wise.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
So now we left with only rows 3 affected.
No, it's going to be left with only Rose Joy.
And that's what I'm seeing rows now. Okay, two affected. Okay.
So that is that. Then that's delete. Then the next one is supposed to look at alter, right? Alter. I'm going to take alter off. So
Why are you taking it off?
it's part of this place. Okay.
Okay, alter table drop.
Yeah, alter table. Okay. Now alter table is similar to the what's it called? The create table command. Okay, similar to the create table command. So we are going to look at it together. It's almost something similar as that. So I'll start by saying alter table, then name of the table. Then I'm going to start referring to the parts of the table that I want to alter. Okay, by saying add. Okay, that is if I'm trying to add a column, right? So I'm going to now say and say add email. Then I'm going to put voucher. Voucher is basically variable characters. I'm going to make it 25, or let's go with
That's from the alter table.
yeah for the alter table.
Alter table staff.
I'm altering the staff table,
Okay.
and I'm adding a new column known
That's
as
the voucher.
email. Yes,
Okay, this one you cannot add anything you want to add.
yes. This is where you now talk about adding the new field you want or the new column you want. Okay, so this is alter. Alter has many commands under it, but for now let's just do one.
Okay, then you teach me more about the commands.
Yeah, definitely,
Alright.
definitely. So if I go ahead to do select, notice says successful, executed successfully. Okay, so if I do select all from,
I don't understand. Hold on.
I just did the alter
You just did the alter.
and it executed it
Wait.
and
now.
it showed successful.
You did the alter,
Mm-hmm.
then you executed it.
Yes,
So you're coming back to select again from start.
yes, to see what was done.
Okay.
Okay, so now I execute. Notice that I now have email attached to it with null values.
No, because there was no email attached to them.
Initially, yes, that was why. Now I can now do drop. Drop is the part.
But the process where you now attach email.
You can add email now. You can basically add email from here.
So when you now do select from staffs,
No, instead of just stopping at the name, you can now add email.
Okay, can I go ahead and add it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so over here I'm not going to do the drop, which is like the final one. So um, drop table staff. And once I write this, it deletes the table for me. Okay, completed successfully. And if I try to rerun this
You did drop
table, name of the table.
and you did name of the table. Which of the name of the table do you?
The staff now, the staff, you don't even want to call that table.
So it deleted that create a table.
It deleted the whole table with the information inside of it. If I run select all from staff, I will get an error because the staff no longer exists. Okay, so that is the command. So the DDL, okay, which is a data definition language, has to do with the creation of the
calm down now.
Okay.
You know I'm having a big my first.
No problem. No problem.
The drop table staff was the one that delete the table, or is it delete?
The one that deleted the table is the drop.
The drop table staff.
Yes, deleted the table. Then delete has to do with the record inside the table, the rows inside the table. Think of it this way: the table is the file, the record is the data you type inside. When you click delete, right, you delete the record you typed inside. When you click drop, you delete the whole file with everything inside of it. So the drop table staff is deleting the whole file with everything inside of it. Why the delete is deleting specific records.
So, but have we done delete yet?
We did delete now. We did delete over here. Then we are saying when we remove
25 and the rest, where it brought out
only
joy.
Joy, yes. After
no,
deleting.
only it's not a joy, it's 60 something. Only great.
That is the deleted great, yeah, great twice. So that is the delete.
So now the drop this thing and delete everything.
Yes, release the table entirely.
So if you want to retrieve the table now back.
Well, when a drop command is done, there is no reversal for it.
So you have to start afresh.
Yes, that's why they say if you do drop on the production database, it's quite risky.
It's wise to do it.
When you do drop, it's quite risky. So there's
what
nothing coming out.
This is where you save it already.
If you saved it, the only thing that you can actually bring back is if you do delete, okay, and you use transaction to log it. That means back up the value before deleting. Then you can do a revoke and then bring it back. But if you don't do that and you delete it, it's gone and gone. So most times all the deletes, most of the things done here is done permanently. That's the thing. That's why
not permanently for reference with data.
when the data is inserted into the database, it's inserted permanently. When it's altered, it is altered permanently. But at times, the transaction has a way of keeping record of how the data is changing. Just like a second backup. Okay, it's like this thing was this before, then it became this. So if that transaction is not there, if that record is not there, it's permanent. But if that record is there, then you can use the record to go back. That's just the idea. But most times, everything done, yeah, is basically permanent. Okay, so that's basically majority of the thing. So we're going to start going in depth to look at these things one by one. What we just did now is like crash introduction course. Okay, so we have everything in one go. So
God, I beg, I want to learn this.
So I can then go ahead and click Ctrl S to save. Okay, so
Control S to save.
yes.
Even when you did drop table, everything deleted.
Yes. Save. I'm saving the file and the file itself is I can save the query. So that tomorrow I can use it again.
So okay, then what exactly is deleted in the drop table stuff? I'm confused.
Okay, let me start it this way.
Because if what I was thinking in my own way of delete, I thought the whole thing from the create data, this thing, blah blah blah, will be deleted.
No. The file itself stores commands. The
Mm-hmm.
file is independent of the command.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, the query files, the SQL files, is just like you writing in an Excel file. Now, when you create pivot tables in Excel, they are stored inside the Excel file. Okay? So you can move the file around, but the content of the file remains what the contents of the file are. Same thing applies here. Now, this command have different behaviors, but the command affects a physical, a virtual, okay, aspect of the system we call the database. We can actually see it with our eyes, okay, but we know it's there. Now, this database has compartment, is a structure. Now, in this compartment, one of them is known as a table. Inside of that table, we have rows and columns. Now, when you are working with all these things are virtual, they are electronically there. Okay, so it's not something you can actually touch, but you can work with them because they exist. Now, any command you execute is not being done to the file; it's being done to that virtual space
That is being in the
that is in the system.
system.
Okay, so if I delete, it's deleting in that virtual space. The only thing that does actually happen in real life